All right, guys, we are live. It's episode 233 of the Shooter's Mindset. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Jennifer Seymour is joining us. What's going on, Jen?
Hey, everybody.
It's good. It's good to have you on here, Jen. Again, back again. We had a postponed show. I guess a flight was delayed and he couldn't make it, so we have it rescheduled for October. So we're gonna get Phil back on the show. Guest and star of the hour is Steve Fisher of Sentinel Concepts. What's going on, Steve?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
It's going pretty good. It's good to have you on. We had Tatiana on the show, and I was like, she's like, I'll get Steve for you. I'm like, you know what? I'm a follow up on that. So we got you on here shortly after that.
You may right.
So there we go. And if you want to see the Tatiana Whitlock show, it's about 3 weeks ago we had her on. It was a great show. Man, she speaks very well about this stuff. So go back and watch that if you haven't seen it, okay? Show announcements, theshootersmindset.com, all right? For all your Shooter's Mindset needs, if you want to watch the show live, you can do that from the website. You can check out our blog articles and our shop, all at theshootersmindset.com, okay? The show sponsors, obviously, the folks over at Tactical Shit, shop.tacticalshit.com. We have a discount code coming from them later on in the show. If you're watching live and you want to ask a question throughout the show, you can. If you're watching on the YouTube side of things, top right-hand corner, you can join the conversation over there. Also, if you prefer to use Facebook, The Shooter's Mindset on Facebook, there's a pinned post or somewhere, our most recent post, where you can use Facebook and comment below that, and we'll grab them. All right, Steve, let's kind of kick this one off here. For those who are unfamiliar with you, tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you became involved in the firearm industry.
Wow. This probably goes back to, like most kids, I grew up in a hunting family, around guns my whole life growing up, the usual story there. Back in the early 90s, I hired on with the local sheriff's office. I was working at a local gun shop as well, which was full of some great shooters, competitive guys, tactical guys that had, the whole gamut working in there. It was awesome. From there, I got the training bug, started going to a lot of classes. Had been working for one company for about 4 odd years, branched out, started my own. Did that for a whole bunch of years, sold that off when I went to work for Magpul. Did that for about 4 odd years, left that when it was time to go. In 2014, started Sentinel Concepts, and in between all that, I'd been published in Surefire's Combat Weapons and Tactics. I'd been featured in SWAT. I'd been featured in Surefire's magazine, a couple others. I wrote a lot of articles. Between A and B, I started working consulting projects for several companies. Currently, Nighthawk, Trigicon, FN, just the list goes on and on and on throughout the industry. I give a very no BS approach to a lot of problems that manufacturers see. And a lot of times it comes across pretty brash. Or crass, however you want to say it at this point in time. And unfortunately, fortunately, I should say, it gets taken to heart, which is good. So, it's kind of where I've been all these years. And I'm still a serious student. I take, probably 3 classes a year when given an opportunity to do so and a chance to do it. And still going.
Along that time frame, you got the nickname the Yeti. What's the story behind that? And is it a good one? It usually is.
Oh, yeah. No, Alan Normandy, owner of Battletop, good friend of mine. That's kind of where it started. Just this big, hairy, mythological beast, and that's Alan just coined it, and that stayed with me. Probably that was starting back in about 6, 7. Probably about 06, 07-ish, I have to say. I think that's when Alan named me that. So it's just been kind of that way ever since. It's just stayed.
There it is. Well, it makes sense because if anybody's seen you in person, you're not what I would call a small guy by any means. You're definitely a pretty big dude. Not. Yeah. So there we go. Hot topic. It seems to have popped up, at least on my side of social media, and I'm curious to get your opinion, like a lot of people are.
I can guess.
Yeah, and there's probably more than a couple. There's probably more than just this topic we're going to talk about where this is going to come into play. But there is a video that says that was in my YouTube feed, was just recently posted today. I posted it on my personal social media Facebook page. What to bring, like before class requirements, right? What to bring before you sign up for a class with this certain individual. And he pretty much, the message is, and you guys should watch this video. We'll have the link posted in that if you want to see it down in the description box below, or I'll post it in the live feed right now. But he said no modified handguns or rifles. Okay. And he said they will be checking. All right. You can't hide it. All right. You can't play with the springs and still have a factory trigger shoot. He's going to look for it. All right. Also, absolutely no reloaded ammunition is allowed in this class, okay? And also a good holster, which is I'm fine, of course, that makes sense. Good Kydex holster, good well-made holster that you can unholster and reholster your gun with no problems and, no safety issues. Obviously, come with your pistols and rifles zeroed. That makes complete sense. No one wants to come with your shit unzeroed. There's no time for that.
Yep.
But you teach a lot of classes throughout the year. You've been around the block or two. What are your thoughts on this?
Still America. His place, his rules. People can choose to go or not to go. And that's totally awesome. Here's the thing. Show up to class with what you have. If it doesn't work for you during class, well, okay, too bad. Get another gun out, or maybe the instructor has another pistol, or somebody else in the class does, or carbine. Cool story. Bottom line is, it's still his house, his rules, which I can totally respect. Every quote unquote instructor / trainer in the industry has their XYZs, and that's great. To alienate, let's just say somebody who goes out and buys a agency Glock. Is that a modified gun? Because it comes from the factory that way. That's their build, their gun. So is that how you would deem modified? Or are you talking somebody who just grabs a gun and throws buys a stock 19 and slaps a set of, Apex parts in it? Or are you talking about somebody who has now put a comp on their gun and an Apex? It doesn't matter. Still his rules, his house. To alienate a group of shooters, probably not the best thing, but hey, cool story. As far as holsters go, good quality holster, that's a must. Reloaded ammo, I don't care. A student wants to bring reloaded ammo if they're secure enough in their reloads, that's great. If it's Uncle Bob's reloads from a gun show because he saved $1.50 on a case of 1,000, I'm probably going to have a little issue with that. If the guy pulls out the Ziploc bags, full of ammo that he bought at the gun show or whatever, that's cool. But here's the thing, myself included for years, I hand rolled a lot of my own ammo. If I have a problem with my ammo, that's on me. That's great. You're going to tell somebody who's a competitive shooter whose, XYZ gun is, tricked out for their performance to do whatever 2-gun, 3-gun, USPSA, IDPA, whatever it is inside their rules and regulations guidelines, that they can't bring that gun to class. They can't shoot their ammo that the gun has been tuned to for optimal running and accuracy. Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow. I get it. I understand it. I don't necessarily have to agree with it. To me, a lot of it also, because I skimmed through the 3.5 minutes of video or whatever it was, 4 minutes of my life I'll never get back. But I also understand it. But it also shows, and it's not a dig, because I'm absolutely not perfect on this either. But it almost tells me, like, bro, you don't know how to manage your classes.
Yeah.
Or your students, if that's your big issue, that's your big headache. You might want to look at how you remanage some things as well. Maybe there's been a problem that's, egg this on. Obviously, he said some things in the video of that nature. But yeah, I'm like, I see, umpteen, 100 odd students a year for the past 20 years, 18 years professionally. I'm like, yeah, I've never had it to the point where, I've had, a couple issues over the years where things have either slowed the class tempo down or a gun malfunction has caused an issue. I tell them, hey, take it offline, go do something, not my problem. You'll get another set of reps when you come back with a different gun. Just because you miss one relay doesn't mean you've missed the world. All right. So, hey, I tell students, bring a spare gun, bring spare bolt carriers, whatever it is for their carbines, bring a spare carbine. As a quote unquote good, teacher, I have equipment available there for guys to use if something bad does happen. Hey, I've got a spare carbine because I always bring 2 on the road. I might have 2 pistols with me, whatever, 3. that's fine. Here's a gun, here's a holster, whatever, if there's a serious problem. But to alienate,
yeah,
not in this industry at this point in time in business when numbers are down for a lot of places across the board. Or are you trying to alienate a specific clientele? Not about it.
Yeah, there you go, Jen. What's your thoughts on the video also, Jen?
Well, number one, I would probably never take a class from him. And Anthony and I talked about this a little bit in the pre-show. Just from the video and what I saw, I can guarantee you he's that teacher that is going to say, I have to do it this way. Not, I mean, I want someone to teach me, but there are times when, as a female, I can't do certain things that meant a 6'4" big tall guy could do. My bone structure is different. There's times that I need to do things a little bit different. I like to take things from different people and kind of mesh them as my own and figure it out. But I've had people before, they're like, no, you have to hold it this way. It has to be exactly like this. And I can just tell from his presentation that that's how he is. I would not do well with that. I need someone that's going to work with me where I'm at. I think it's ridiculous that you have to own 2 guns to go take his class. I think you're cutting out a huge amount of clientele there of people that probably are hungry to learn, but just because they don't own 2 guns, I just think it's crazy.
He did mention to bring a backup gun as a requirement. These are requirements for his class. Now, does he have valid points? I think, yeah, there are some valid points in there. I just think the message was portrayed not so great. So that's where it is. When I saw the video, and dude, I'm subscribed to this guy's channel. I clicked on it and, hey, let's see. I teach classes. Let's see what this guy's doing. Let's get the knowledge. And I was like, my eyes open. I'm like, oh shit. Ouch. There you go. So
I do think that it was mostly his presentation. He comes across as very arrogant and very my way or the highway. And that's his class. He's allowed to do that. But I personally would not. I don't do well with that.
Yeah. I mean, over the years, I've had to learn. I mean, there's times even my bluntness or my presentation comes across as ego or arrogance. I mean, there has to be a degree of confidence that can often be misconstrued as these things sometimes. But the presentation was a little about it. Like, this is going to be it. This is the only way it's going to happen. And that's it. I'm like, I can't get behind it. It's like, I have requirements for students to bring, items that they must have. It's a tourniquet and an IFAC and a notebook. Those are required items besides your usual stuff. But again, to alienate a group or an individual that may be new to the shooting community, who has now just basically been able to afford their first AR or AK or Glock or MMP or whatever gun it is, who wants to go take a class because it's convenient, it's in the area, it's in the neighborhood, and because that person may have smallish hands, let's just say, and they need a different trigger in their Glock to allow the angle and get a better purchase on the trigger, yada, 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 because not all guns are perfect for everybody. Totally get it, understand it. Or a cocking device because of some kind of impairment. Bro, what about a dude who's got a righty AR, who's left-handed or whatever, who wants an ambi mag catch on the gun? Something that makes their life a little bit easier. Not absolutely needed. It helps, but not needed. So he's going to automatically DQ somebody for that and say no go.
Well, and especially with ARs, there are so many people that have built themselves an AR. And I know a ton of people that have built an AR that is a very functional AR. Very functional. But it's cheaper to buy the parts, or maybe they, somebody gives them a lower and an upper. And so then they buy along the way and put it together. So to completely discount them, I think it was that, as well as he felt very condescending. And I don't want to take a class from someone that's condescending. I want to take a class from someone competent and has more knowledge than me. But I don't want somebody to make me feel like an idiot the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. And it's clear. It looked like there was some frustration there, and obviously you probably had some students recently who's really held up the class because they brought some gear that they didn't test prior, or they had some junky equipment, which is understandable. I think but. It seemed like he didn't want to waste his students' time because of these individuals. So, but I think there's ways, like Steve pointed out, to, hey, dude, fix your shit at the safety table, or whatever. Figure it out. Get off the line. When you get your stuff back together, you'll jump back in. If not, and it's completely down and out, and we can't fix it in a good time frame, then here's my Glock 19 that I have a spare of. That most instructors, shit, sometimes I roll up to a class with like 4 pistols, just because, you know, this is different. This is different. Do you like this? Do you like that?
Sure.
Try them all. You know?
Yeah,
So.
I generally bring a couple of guns, let students play with them, or students will hit me up like, hey, I'd like to try XYZ. You have one, you can bring it to class, whatever the case is. But yeah, it's
Yeah, so let's get to some of the live comments here. Matthew says, get ready for some real straight talk. Express. Steve's for real. All right.
Yeah.
Razor JB says, what's up to all? It's going to be a good one tonight with Steve is real and a great dude. No soft skin here. Also getting into a little bit more comments on the video. Schwell, who's was a
Hey, Schwell.
Long-time co-host of the Shooter's Mindset back in the day. He says the tone is the only thing he has an issue with that video, his tone, which I agree with. Folks don't like what he said. More than likely aren't going to be the people taking a class from him anyway.
You never know.
Yeah, I don't know if I fully agree with that. But
that's a cop-out for most people. They use that as a cop-out by somebody who's probably never going to take a class anyways.
Yeah, so a little bit more, some more comments about his tone and stuff like that. Too many fantastic instructors out there to be butthurt at this one. Right, that's true. That's what Steve kind of alluded to. The industry's kind of down. There's a lot of instructors out there. You're putting this video out with a huge following. I mean, this is not no guy that has 100 subscribers or anything like that. This guy has a bigger following than the Shooter's Mindset does. All right. So there's a lot of people are going to see that.
I guess it depends on who is his audience. I don't know if he's teaching people that have, are just getting their first gun, or if he's teaching people that are, I don't know him. So I don't know who his intended audience is, I suppose. But as a female that just got into this industry, 6 years ago, had never touched a gun, as someone that's new and would like to see growth with females and some new people that are not in the gun industry, I just feel like it's a bit of a turnoff the way that he came across, I guess. And I would hate for someone looking to take their first class to come across that video and be like, oh, well, I'm not going to take a class from anybody. You know what I mean? And be turned off. That, I guess, is my biggest thing.
Yeah, I wonder if that video is going to stay up much longer. I don't know.
Oh, it will.
We'll see.
It will.
We'll see.
Ego will keep it there.
Yeah, there we go. So, but moving on here, it seems we don't want to waste too much time on that topic. You can search up the video. It's available pretty readily now. It seems like people are finding it pretty simple.
Yeah.
What else we got? Also, kind of another one of those kind of topics, the hot game instructor, right? I'm talking a hot game. I'm the shit. All right. This is the way I do it. This is the way it's supposed to be done, versus actually, pretty much as a student looking for classes.
Uh-oh, he froze.
We lost him. Right.
You are frozen.
He's done.
You froze.
I was like, I got some lag. Oh, shit. So it was on my end. Okay, but yeah, so pretty much students doing research and checking the credentials of the instructor or classes they're taking. There's a lot of people that earn a following on social media and talk a hot game when really there's not much to back that up, right? There seems to be a lot, and I follow some of these groups on Facebook where you're involved, and a lot of hot instructors get involved, and I'm like, wow, this dude's a retard. But we keep talking about him, and we keep like almost giving this dude some promotion, right? So what is your kind of take on this? Speak to how important it is for students to do a little research on who to decide to train with.
Base it off what you need, not what you want. There's definitely a difference there. Absolutely. Even for myself, when I look at an instructor, somebody I'm going to go teach with, obviously I have a lot of peers within the industry that are friends, buddies, places that I can go train with pretty regularly. And I pay for the classes. I don't go to them for free. I still pay because everybody's got to eat. Here's what I talked to this a while back with actually one of those instructors. who's actually a dude who calls me up quite often, seeking advice, words of wisdom, whatever it is. It's cool. I get it. Instagram, social media, especially Instagram, has driven to a new level of what I would call fanboyism. It's much like, and I'll relate it in a way that a lot of dudes can understand between A and Z bracket, that a lot of these dudes, what they're putting out now has kind of re-kickstarted some things, much like the Magpul videos did back in 2008-9. It's a whole new cycle again, 10 years later, 10 years later. But a lot of it too, I mean, guys will comment, fancy edits, this, that, whatever. Hey, that's cool. Here's what really drives it. Companies' marketing divisions. It's free advertising. Mm-hmm. Companies' marketing teams are driving the Instagram profiles heavily. They all seek these people out because, hey, they got great production quality. They have this, they have that. They're cool. They're hot. They've got 8,000 million people. That's awesome. How much time are they actually getting in front of students with the products, and what is the ROIs? We see a lot of that, but looking for it, see what they have to offer. Here's the deal. The 40, 27-year-old, 35-year-old, whatever bracket, mother, aunt, uncle, dude, accountant, whatever, who's got a gun, who looks at this stuff, sees something sexy, that's awesome. Do they need to go shoot with a tier 1 operator that's teaching them, XYZ bounding drills, blah, 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 carbine? Or do they need to go see that guy who was, prior military, law enforcement instructor, whatever the case is, somebody who's done instructor schools through some of the major organizations that can teach them good baseline fundamentals of shooting a gun and shooting a gun properly without all the BS. You will learn something from everybody. You take some of the top tier military teams in the world, they learn from some of the best competitive shooters in the world. Reason being, they learn how to shave time. They look at efficiencies. They look at where they can improve certain things. So dudes will learn from everybody. I've worked with some fantastic top tier dudes out of the highest levels of the military that are friends, that are phenomenal instructors. And they are the kind of dudes that can teach you a lot about shooting a gun. Absolutely can. Absolutely can. Are they going to fluff you up full of CQB ninja clearing tactics? No, but they're going to teach you to shoot a pistol incredibly well under certain stressors. So you will learn something from everybody. But what people need to realize is that, one, they need to seek out the instructor that's going to give them the information that they need, not necessarily what they want. It can't be a puppy mill class to where, well, if you come to level 1, you're going to learn all this, and then level 5, you're going to do. Stop it. You have a baseline group of students that need a essential fundamental foundation class, which everybody does, period. Mm-hmm. Then you have the dudes that need to go in and learn more critical skill sets, such as, hey, one-handed only shooting, operation of the gun, manipulations of the gun, low light, whatever the case is. But the baseline for that is still fundamental knowledge of the gun and how to shoot the gun accurately, correctly, and efficiently. Anybody can teach you that. That is within reason. So I take nothing away from some of these guys that are out there. They do a tremendous amount of work, research. They've learned from others. They're fortunate enough to have the wherewithal, the drive to put the stuff out, even though some of the content maybe it's flashy, it's cool, but that drives likes and hits and fanboys. Yeah. And they're rabid. It's great. They are so rabid. It is so awesome to troll the pages every now and then. 2, 3 of the premier guys that are really out there doing this, 2 of them are loose buddies of mine. They call me, we talk, we tag conversations. It's great. One of them is a likable enough dude. He really is. Don't have to pretend to like him, hate him, whatever. I'm neutral on it. Some of the stuff is a little far-fetched, and that's cool, but he's successful. And they are. How long does that train last? Till the next one comes around. But the biggest thing is, it's kind of like the gun bunnies of the gun industry. The marketing teams drive a lot of that. They drive and they feed the ego, and they push this. And they push them to keep trying to outdo one another, which is awesome. It's great to watch. It literally is. I sit back and I watch it, and I just go, yeah, cool. Dude's out there and he shoots the gun fast. Great story. How does that translate to XYZ student that you may have for 8 hours? And 8 hours, it means equates to about 4.5 hours of shooting in a class. By the time you have lunch, talk time, relays, certain drills and exercises, that's awesome. What did they learn? Not what they were taught, but what did they learn in that 4 to 6 hours? And how much of it can they take away and sustain on their own time at their own range? That's what I tell people to look for. Look for the sustainment levels that come out of that class. Everybody understands, or should, we need to isolate the draw. We need to isolate the trigger press, understand relative sight picture based on high percentage, low percentage shots. Great. There you have it in a nutshell. That's what you need to learn. You need specific accuracy drills, speed drills, and that's great. But to get to one, you have to get the other down because they're all intertwined with each other.
There we go. We got a couple of comments here that came in. One from Razor JB. Just because someone was a former Special Forces guy, that doesn't alone check his, for credibility. Just because he's Special Forces guy doesn't mean that that worked for him as far as credibility goes.
Right.
Also, you can be the some awesome military. You can have a great, not everybody's a good teacher too, so you can done all that. And, you were excellent doing that, but then you can't get the message across on how to do that.
Being a good communicator is tough. You have people that learn all kinds of different ways, visual, auditory, physical hands-on stuff. There are people that learn all kinds of different ways, and you need to be able to, talk about it. You need to explain it. You need to be able to demo it. You need to be able to perform it. You need to be able to break it down to their level, not your level. Because standing up in front of a class and doing a sub 1 second is awesome. It's impressive to the class. Yeah, I can take students there, but how long is it going to take them? We can shave 10,000s here, 10,000s there through the day. But what are they going to take back to sustain on that? And that's the key thing. You can teach it to people all day long, but you have to give them the sustainment to be able to go to the indoor range in the winter if they live up north somewhere that's cold to practice at or lousy days. Most ranges aren't going to let you do this or that. So it has to be a very well-rounded program that gives them everything they need.
Boom. There you go, Jen. You got some comments or anything you want to jump in?
Matthew says student AARs and reading the prereqs for the class is important, I've found, and that emailing before the class with any questions or concerns. He said Steve is very responsive as well as others in his cadre. So I think that's great that you're responsive and
it's just dudes talking, man. That's all it is. It's somebody emails or texts or whatever. I'm not shy about it. Here's my information. Call me, ask questions, email me. I don't care. Hit me up on Messenger, Facebook, Instagram. I don't care. But if you have questions, which is stuff I wish I would have had 18, 20 years ago when I first started and very limited places to go and train, man, life would have been so much better back then. It really would have. But yeah, answer the questions. There's no reason not to. And for the students, I tell them, ask the questions. You're there to ask the whys, and even before the class, ask the whys and whats.
Well, there we go. I definitely like that. You say you try to take at least 3 classes a year. Obviously, you went over your background. You've been doing this longer than most. So to say that you take 3, I usually try to take at least 1. But you're always constantly learning new things, and something that you probably believed in 10 years ago, maybe you don't believe in that anymore. And Absolutely. I've watched some videos, and I watched a video with you doing I think it was one of the Surefire videos, and you were talking about you preferred handheld over, some weapon mounted flashlights in that particular video. Has your opinion changed since then? I don't know how old that video was.
That video is about a year. That video is about a year old. I've always been a big handheld proponent. Don't get me wrong, I love a good weapon light. Nothing wrong with it at all. Even supplementing with a handheld to a weapon light, transitional stuff is great. Just the handheld or having a handheld light gives you more options. It gives you way more stuff that you can do to process information before the gun comes out and trying to use the weapon light as an identification tool. It was taught to me long ago. What would you rather have? The light or the gun? It makes sense. The gun, and how I ended up rephrasing part of that analogy to my students is that the gun will save your life, but the light will save somebody else's. And that's pretty important to me. And hey, truth be told, I carry a lot of guns that don't have weapons, that aren't capable of weapon lights. I'm a 1911 guy. I shoot a lot of modern pistols, but God, man, I just love a good 1911. And some of my 1911s do not have light rails. Sometimes I carry smaller guns depending on what I'm doing, Glock 43, Shield, certain other guns that don't have light rails. So the issue with weapons mounted lights is they're easy. And everybody can do their normal two-handed stuff, and that's great, and that's awesome until they can't. And when that happens, it's not the time to figure it out. But yeah, I mean, things evolve, with current threats, threat assessments, the way that things have changed over the past 20 years. Techniques definitely do change, but it still comes back to fundamentals. But there are some techniques that do change. There are some either drills, exercises, what have you, that have changed outlook on things. The way I teach certain stuff has changed. Going back to taking classes, the other thing with that too is it's just not shooting classes. It's literally classes on adult education, adult learning. It's about, human body, how things work, how we can visually process information faster to get the brain working. There's a lot of those classes that go on in the background that, because they're not sexy. Medical, people don't talk about that enough. I mean, there's so much of it out there. It's not just not shooting classes for me. So there's a lot of little takeaways that go on behind the scenes that people have to understand with their quote unquote, instructors. And that's what a lot of guys are. They're instructors, they're parroters, they're not teachers. They will regurgitate a lot of information, or they'll spin stuff around and make themselves sound better and smarter. And it's like, bro, you totally screwed up the context of that because I know where it comes from. And I see that a lot. But hey, it's the day and age, and it's what it is, and that's cool, and everybody has a take on things.
Well, there we go. Going to move into the discount corner portion here of the show, try to save you some money from some great companies who support the shooter's mindset, all right? Jen, you usually start us off. What do you have?
Yep, you can get 10% off at carbonarms.us on Carbon Arms, shotgun shell caddies, chest rigs, ratchet belts, all that good stuff at carbonarms.us. And you can get it with 10% off with TSM10. You can also get 10% off in the Shooter's Mindset store with the best code ever, which is Gen TSM10. You can get 10% off. We have base pads, Gear Nation t-shirts, which I hit Woody up. I might be getting me something. I told him I need a new one. Need a new shirt to represent. So go check it out at the Shooter's Mindset store and use my code, not any of those others.
There we go. Steve, what do you have? You have any on the fly kind of codes, people you're working with?
Man, there's so many. A lot of them are given out at classes because they're unique discount codes to individuals for students. But, Tough Products does a 10% off coupon with, I think it's the code Sentinel. Jesus, total blank right now. I'm so fried right now. Big Tex Outdoors. Sentinel 15 is the code there. There's just so many that I have from supporters and sponsors. It's kind of crazy.
There we go. Yeah, we're gonna get into some of the Tough Products. We're a big fan of Tough Products and Nancy and the crew over there. You're designing a lot of bags and a lot of gear for them. We're gonna jump into that shortly here. Let me run through mine. Shop.tacticalshit.com, TSM10 saves you 10% off their entire web store. Also, if you're in the St. Peters, Missouri area and you check out their retail spot, you can yell it at the cashier, get 10% off, all right? Also, what do we have? Taran Tactical Innovations, TaranTacticalInnovations.com, TSM10 saves you 10% off their gear over there. And lastly, UMTactical.com, TSM10 for 10% off their website, all right? So let's get into some of the tough products gear and what you're doing with them. When we had them on the show, maybe a year or so back, I think you only had like one bag out with them. Now there's a lot more than that, and that was a hot seller. I think they couldn't really keep it in stock at the time. She told me about it, and I'm like, "Oh, that looks cool." She's like, "Yeah, but I'm out." I'm like, "Oh." So what do you got new going with them?
Let's see. We've got the Revelation 2.0 pack, which is a low-profile carry pack designed for any gun upwards of 23 inches. So mainly law tactical folding, SBR type guns, some smaller sub guns, stuff like that. It's a good low-pro backpack for when you have to carry a gun. It is in use with some entities, which is pretty awesome. The one that I'm really happy about is the tourniquet holder. The just-in-case tourniquet holder is pretty awesome. It attaches to any pack, sling, bag, belt, kit, vest, whatever it is you have. It's pretty much universal with all its mounting systems, and it holds a tourniquet where it needs to be, either on the gun or on your person. You know, it's a great setup for that. There is another bag that I have redesigned with them as far as the carb bag, which is a breakdown AR carry bag. Pretty low pro, some great colors for that. Not your standard just black and green stuff and tan and multicam, which I hate all those colors. I have another bag on the way that's designed for some of the larger guns. That's out. It's not out yet. I've just got the first couple classes under my belt with it as the prototype. I dig it. It's a very low profile bag. It carries a lot too. Don't load it up to capacity, people. Don't do it. It gets heavy as hell. What else do I have with them? There's a couple other things in the design table that we're going to finish up this year when I get out there after SHOT Show. And, you know, kind of work on a couple more little things.
Yeah, and you can find this stuff that we're mentioning here, toughproducts.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can go down. There's a Sentinel Concepts Elite kind of tab, and all these accessories and bags.
Yeah, there's range bags.
Available.
There's, you know, the pistol case was a big favorite of mine too. I just needed a way to carry 2 pistols, a handful of mags, a couple boxes of ammo, go to the range real quick, you know, staple some stuff up, confirm zeros before class without lugging all my gear everywhere. That's a great little pistol bag that I absolutely love. That thing. That is my favorite go-to bag.
What I like about some of these bags here is that just something that I noticed looking at them is that they don't really scream, I have a gun in it, or they don't really scream, oh, this dude's some tactical dude. He has to have something valuable in this bag or something, you know, with the whole Molly everywhere and the OD green multicam, and you got a first aid kit hanging off the back of the bag and all that stuff. Yeah. That's cool. I own those bags, but maybe that's not everybody's flavor. You know, you want to discreetly carry your rifle.
Especially today's day and age, you know, you want to take your guns in and out of the house. You know, you have neighbors, you're going to go to the range after work, you want to leave it in your vehicle or something, you know, secured in one form or fashion or another, so it doesn't scream gun. All those things are the things that I've always wanted. So that's what I did. That's how that works. You know, you look at the things around you, look at the things you want, and you say, yeah, that'd work, and you redo them.
Oh, Jen, what's new with you? Anything new on your end of the thing? I know that Hurricane Florence is really digging up to your area right now.
Yeah, it's been a busy week. My daughter's actually at College of Charleston, so I had to get her home. So that was interesting. So she's now here, and one of her roommates that got evacuated because she was like, I don't know how to evacuate. What do I take with me? I was like, anything that can't be replaced is all you need. Anything else, leave there. If it blows away, it blows away.
The iPhone, the Xbox, that type of stuff.
I said, bring your pictures. Any pictures that you will cry if you lose, then bring that. The rest we can buy more if we need to. But so yeah, got that going on. And then this weekend coming up, I'm going to the Precision Rifle Expo, and that we talked about 2 weeks ago, I think, on the show. So I'll be there. I'm going to do some videos with some of the different manufacturers. So be looking for those on the TSM page. I'll put those up for sure. Going to take a couple of classes, taking one from Frank Galley. I'm really excited about that. Taking from Tyler Payne. I can't remember who else the instructors are, but yeah, so that's coming up this Saturday and Sunday. That'll be great. So if you're anywhere, if you're trying to evacuate from the hurricane, come check out that. I don't think we'll have any rain. It'll be dry. So come learn about precision rifle shooting.
Oh,
PR that's stuff is awesome.
Yep. Yeah, PRS is my heart.
Love it.
Yeah, I would tell you, you know, since I live in South Florida and this is kind of a hurricane, you know, it's kind of like the usual, right? It's not a big deal. But Cat 4, Cat 5 stuff, I'd probably fly the hell away at this point. I've been through too many of them, stayed for them, and it sucks. So I'm probably hitting somewhere where I can get away. Obviously, that's not an option for many people, and obviously your job and your profession probably requires you to be there.
Yeah, we kind of have to be there. I mean, we won't be affected by weather here, but we are. My hospital is getting some evacuee patients, some critical patients flown in. So
yeah, you get away
makes
from
it busy.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough. What else we got? Any live ones that came in, Jen, on your end? We're pretty good on this one. Alphas to Win says he totally agrees with that. I believe that was the right handheld light reference when we were talking about here shortly. What else do we have? What you got?
Here,
Jen?
I got a question for you. Just as someone that instructs a lot, I know a lot of people that I shoot with, and even myself to an extent. Everybody wants to go to a class and get that secret answer, like give me the and I've found, like, especially, I mean, with all of the genres of shooting, but especially pistol shooting, I've found that the only way you will get better, I don't care if you have the world's genius of shooting tell you things, if you don't practice it and do that repetitive motion, you're never going to get it. So how do you handle those students that just, they want the secret ticket?
I'm gonna pay you, Steve. I want the answer, the secret sauce.
They're gonna get that light bulb moment, and they're gonna get it at a point in time when it just hits them out of the blue in class. Something's gonna resonate with them. It's all gonna come together, and I see these aha moments all the time. They crop up at the weirdest point. Dude could be in the middle of doing some jankety ass, reload drill or something. He's like, "Oh," I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I just finally figured out what you meant by X, Y, Z." I'm like, "Go write that down." Write it down. I'm like, "I don't care about the reload, bro. We can do some more reloads after the fact. But go write that down now. Or remind it." The biggest ahas though that I see come during debriefs, after every exercise, after every drill, I round table debrief the group. And yeah, it's a lot of consistent, the same repeat answers over and over and over. But then all of a sudden, somebody like, "Oh, I've got something." And then it hits them, it resonates. And that's why I do the debriefs after every exercise and after every drill. So guys get that chance to hear everybody else's perspective, what they learned, what they understood, what they took away, and that may ping something with another dude. But here's the thing, there is no magic answer, bro. Here's the answer. I'll give it to everybody in a nutshell. Grab the shit out of the pistol. Grip it. Relative sight picture that's good enough for what you need at the time, distance, and that you need. Press the trigger straight back to the rear without moving the gun. The bullets will go right where your sights were. It's amazing. It's that easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely that easy. But people they get inside their own heads. They're uptight about stuff. It can't be that easy. It's a lot like dealing with children. Don't do that. If it's not working and it's not right, why do you do it? And stop doing it because it's not right and it's obviously not working for you. And explaining that to people, they go, I said, "That's the answer, bro. If that's not working, why do you continue to do it?" And then they look at
the
you
definition
like,
of insanity.
Yeah, well, exactly. And that's kind of what I tell guys. I'm like, hey, the whole thing, and a good friend of mine, somebody that I've trained with a couple of times, people have compared our teaching styles and us because we're very stature-wise the same people, in kind of demeanor, temperament, and whatever else. It's like a doppelganger. It's weird, but he broke it down in a way that made a little bit more sense to me. I used to say it one way. He said it another way, and it made a lot more sense to me. What's right? What does it look like? What does it feel like? When it's right, you've got all the answers. You just have to reapply what was right. And that stuck with me pretty heavily. And it's like, oh, that makes so much sense now. The way I was saying it was good, but this way was much better. So yeah, I've actually told him, hey, bro, I'm stealing that, and credit where credit's due. That came from Matt Graham. And Matt's a great dude, buddy of mine, and absolutely true. And that's the other thing. Credit where credit's due in this industry, man, because everything you learned, somebody else taught it to you because they learned it from somebody else.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. So moving on, obviously you had some, with FN, you've worked with those people, you gave your input. There's many, many other companies. The FN 509 was a gun that came out. But there's a trend here that I'm noticing that a lot of these major gun manufacturers are doing is they're really starting to listen. It seems like it's like it took them a long time to really do that, it seems, or they just came out with this tiny little extra feature and then called it a new generation or something.
Sure.
And then you had to wait 2 more generations later on to really get what everybody was doing.
Yeah.
But I'm digging like this, the 2.0s, the FN 509 tacticals, the guns that you buy it. Oh, now I got to stipple it. Now I need an undercut. Now I need some new sights on it. Now I need some extendos, right, for the pistol because they don't come. Well, a lot of these major gun manufacturers it's just coming just like that, right out the box with everything you need, right? What are you thinking about this?
I dig it. It's taken kind of the industry long enough to catch up to this kind of thing. Tool manufacturing caught up and, technology and things, it was, 5 years before you saw certain things, 3 years, whatever it was. Now, a lot of companies are able to, within a year to 2 years, are able to knock these out, and it's great. The technology is just going to keep catching up. It's going to make it a little bit more innovative. But here's the thing: what else can you do to them?
Yeah.
What else can we do? We have red dots. We've got extended safeties. We've got better triggers that still meet within the liability specifications for all these places. We have, all these things that are there. It's not going to take away the custom shops. The shops that are doing other work for guns. People are like, well, this, and this. Like, hey, I told guys a year ago, this was going to be the year of mounting platforms coming out for guns, for red dots. Obviously insider trader knowledge, it's cool. I don't care, but kind of giving guys a leg up. But the technology is catching up, and advancements are catching up. We're seeing better guns come out. You are hard pressed to throw a rock and not hit a good gun. Some little things will separate one from the other, but for the most part, you're going to find a gun that is a really good gun. And truth be told, here it comes. I'm going to hurt people's feelings. Glock is still not the perfect gun for everyone.
What?
Regardless of what you've been told, the Glock is not the perfect gun for everybody. It is not. There's options. Explore them. Well, this gun costs $200 more than a Glock. Well, how's it feel to you? Well, it feels better in my hand. Okay, then buy that. It's a thing. Buy the gun that feels right to you. And there's a lot out there. I mean, you've got FN, Glock, the 2.0 guns. You've got CZ. You've got a metric ton of these companies out that are within what I would consider the big five realm that are putting out some fantastic guns today, carbines and pistols. You will be hard pressed not to find a good, reliably built gun today. And
there you go. And you can actually take those instructors classes that don't allow you to have mods on your gun. The gun already came
there it is.
awesome.
It's already done.
It's already done. It's stippled from the factory. You don't have to do that anymore. So
it hurts.
There we go. Yeah.
You want to go see cool guns? Go to a USPSA match. You'll see some awesomeness there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we know about that, man. Some of the space guns that are out there.
Hey man, I'm all about that open gun. I'm all about that open life.
Yeah, there we go. That kind of brings up a point in the show notes here on your thoughts on, where's it at? Where I'm at. Future plans of getting more involved in competition shooting side of things. Do you feel shooting competition is a good source of training?
I won't necessarily say training, because when you think of training, there's all these scenario-based stuff and all the stuff that goes on. But I think it is a great. I used to shoot 2-gun, some 3-gun, IDPA. I shot a little bit of outlaw stuff, here and there back in the day. IPSC kind of stuff, pin matches, all kinds of things. I love shooting matches. I wish I had more time to go and shoot competition. I really, truly do. It's valuable. It's a great tool. You'll meet some awesome people. You'll meet some total assholes, like everywhere else in life. It's just in the big city. But going to shoot competitively, anytime you can shoot on the clock, under time, under stress, under pressure, against yourself and others, and honestly against yourself, why wouldn't you? It's a great time. It doesn't take a lot of ammo. It's a day off. It's a Saturday, Monday, Wednesday night league, or whatever it is, indoors somewhere. Go shoot it. Go have fun. Anytime you get to put your guns on and go on a timer and shoot on the move, regardless if you're good at it or not, you're going to learn something about it. I don't necessarily look at it training. I look at it as a way to supplement or augment that training. I look at it as a way to get out and get practice and proficiency. Yeah, why wouldn't you, man? It is awesome. You'll meet some awesome people. You'll get to look at all their cool kid stuff. You may be like, whoa, I need that double stack 2011 Atlas build, 38 Super Wonder Blaster that holds 28 rounds. Why not? Cool story, bro. If you can afford it, go out and get it and shoot it, man. Have fun. Absolutely. Yeah. Even I tell my students, it's like, you want to have some fun that doesn't cost a lot of money? Go shoot an Appleseed event. You will learn a lot about history, how to manage a sling, and how to shoot a gun. Rimfire or centerfire. Go shoot an Appleseed event. They're great. American history. It's Americana. Go do it. Absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Part of what I love about competition is you go and you get to shoot with a lot of different people and you watch how they do things. And I just about every match learn something, whether it's something as small as foot placement or, that someone does different. I'm like, well, why? And I'll ask you, why you do it that way? Like, I'm not trying to challenge you. I really want to know. Right. I want to learn. And they'll be like, oh, well, I do it this way because of this. And I'm like, that's genius,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the way a person sets up their gear, or their magazines on their belt, or PRS stuff, just the way a particular rifle setup is, that may be something that works out better for you. I cut my teeth on precision shooting back in the 80s and 90s. out in Wyoming, which later became the Pro Scopathlon, which became the International Rifleman Championships. I mean, if I cut my teeth early on this stuff, and I love it. I love seeing where all the equipment is gone and the gear and the progressions. But the big thing to me is still the shooter. I like seeing how dudes set up and dudettes set up their guns for success, and why they do certain things they do, especially shooters that are way above me in the skill set. Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah, are there any particular guns that, there's some instructors that like to point that out, and there's a good buddy of ours on the show, Rob Prinktis, I call him, because I had a little bit too many Heinekens on that beer, but that one came out that way, right, on that show. But he has a thing against the 1911s, and he put the invite out to us, and he's like, "Come bring it." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, I so want to take him up on that offer, bring a 1911 out there and try to run one of his courses with it. All right.
Here's what I tell Rob. I know Rob. I've had a lot of long discussions with Rob. I'm great talking to Rob as long as it doesn't involve guns and tactics, because he's wrong. Just it is what it is, because it's Rob, and I love busting Rob's chops. I asked him, "Well, why'd you design a gun that took a 1911 magazine?" I mean, he's like, I said, "Why do you have a gun that has sights on it?" I mean, come on, let's talk. Let's be real. And if we're gonna have real talk, and I get it. It's typical Benner. I've sat down at dinner with Rob a couple of times. Yeah. It is what it is. Me and Rob have butted heads several times. And there's other times we have awesome conversations like anybody else. And it is what it is. Here's the deal. A well-built 1911 runs just as good as any other gun. I have several custom 1911s, and yeah, they're expensive. You're going to spend $5,000 on a gun. You're not going to take an off-the-shelf Kimber or whoever and run it to the proficiency that you will a Nighthawk or a Chambers Custom or an Heirloom Precision or a combat precision gun. It's not going to even compete. It's like taking a Ferrari, to a race against a Prius. It's just not even in the same class. It's not. And there are a lot of great factory guns that suit most people extremely well, that they will never exceed the capabilities of the gun, because that's not what they do. They're not going to shoot 10, 15, 20,000 rounds a year. And that's great. And that's awesome. But take a gun, take it to class, and shoot the gun. If you have a problem with the gun, you learn to work through the problem. I see plenty of other Wonder Polymer guns go down in classes every year, from stock ones to you name it. We've all seen problems with them. That's just his gig, and it's great. And it's fun to watch his shenanigans, because I get to call him out every now and then on the internet. I'm like, stop it. Just stop. You're wrong. So it's great. Yeah.
And I want to take a class now. Right, mm-hmm. Because I want to shoot my 1911 in his class. Right, it's a fun deal. We like him over here. What else? What else we got? Any upcoming events? Any classes you have going on? I know there's a bunch coming down here in Florida area, but what do you have? Any events, projects, classes?
A lot of stuff. I mean, 2019 is going to be a complete relaunch of stuff. Finishing out the year. There's some home defense stuff. There's some low light classes. Then I get a little bit of a downtime. Not much. A couple weeks for deer season. Get a chance to get in the woods and hunt again. That'll be awesome. And then after that, man, it's right back on it again, starting in January. Full kick. Right after SHOT Show, I start my West Coast tour. California, Arizona. I think some stuff up possibly Pacific Northwest, and then it's right back to middle of the country east. Looking forward to the NRA show, looking forward to a couple of the conferences I'll be teaching at. Shooter Symposium, which is phenomenal. That'll be down in Texas at the ranch. If you guys aren't familiar with the symposium, you should. You will not find a place that will have a better gathering of the top tier instructors in the world there for 4 days at your disposal for like $800. Yeah. Everybody is there. I mean, you name them, they're there, from Vogel, Craig Douglas, Kerry Davis, Bill Blowers, Chuck Pressburg, Aaron Cowan, myself, Jared Reston, Mike Pannone. There's just the who's who of everybody within inside the industry will be there teaching. And it's a phenomenal thing, and I love being a part of that.
Well, there we go. The website here is sentinelconcepts.com. Handgun, carbine, shotgun, shoot house stuff. It's all available. Learn, you can click on this stuff, and they have upcoming dates. Just be mindful that, at least when I try to get in one, the handgun stuff is really selling out quick. Yeah. So you want to get in on those.
Essential handgun goes fast. That's a complete shift for shooters who new, seasoned, whatever. that is just an outstanding class for them to really learn what they're seeing and what they're doing with the gun and the whys behind what the gun is doing or what they're doing to the gun that influences their errant rounds.
There we go. Yeah, there's plenty, and he's all over the place. You're all over the place. So
Yeah.
there's most likely there's something coming up in a neighboring state or in your state. So check that out at sentinelconcepts.com. Lastly here, and I think we're going to round this one up unless we have any live questions that come in. But we have red dots on pistols, big deal. It's kind of like where the trend is going. Some departments are picking them up. You know, a lot of people are kind of seeing the light when it comes to red dot pistols. Your thoughts on them and learning the red dot on a pistol, and what slide mounted optic have you found to be the most reliable to date?
That's an awesome question. So my background on red dot pistols started back in 1999. So before most people ever had a pistol in their hand, I had a 5906 Smith & Wesson with a Pasco Optima 2000 mounted in the slide. 1999. Fast forward a couple years, 2003-4, Dr. Optics, J Points, things like that. Fast forward again, 2007 Trijicon, now to where we are today. Red dot pistols are nothing new. It's what's old is new again. It's been around forever. Slide mounted ones on reciprocating slides are somewhat newer versus the old Seymour type mounts or game guns and things of that nature. Absolutely fantastic tools. They're absolutely great to shorten the learning curve for shooters. People who talk about them being slower just do not understand it, and they have fundamental flaws in their presentation of the gun and how they're visualizing the dot. They are hindering themselves, I think, by that, but probably the best red dot right now on a gun to be mounted currently would be the Type 2 RMR from Trijicon. It's been the most robust and rugged. Following that up with the Delta Point Pro from Loophole is phenomenal. It's another one that's it's rugged. It's rugged enough for the average carrier. It's quick battery change. It's just an outstanding field of view in that optic. Great thing. I shoot a lot of RMRs on a lot of pistols. I have for years. I worked with Trijicon. I was paid by them for years. Fantastic product, great company to work with. They make some awesome products, but the RMR Type 2 is the most rugged, probably the best one of its nature right now.
And here's my opinion on the RMRs was the windows always didn't seem big enough for a competition, in my opinion. Right? I always wanted to see a larger window with the RMR style optics. That's where I think some of the Leupold Delta Point Pro that kind of shines in that area. It seems to be one of the most used in competition. I don't have the real numbers here. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to be the trend. And I'm kind of still waiting to see that Trijicon optic with the way it runs. You know, I love Trijicon. I have their optics on my carbines. But do you think that's a big deal, or am I putting too much on it?
I think you're putting a little too much on it. Competitive world, self-defense, whatever. Having a larger field of view, a little bit larger window can be important for some. The problem is too many people look at the housing. They're looking for something that's really not there, because the only thing I need to see is a dot. That's it. I don't care about the window until the dot's not there. Then I just fill the window full of meat and I press a trigger. It's things that I've taught for 10, 15 years about red dots on guns. There's ways to use the housings. There's a lot of good information out there on these things. But here's the deal. They're not any different than your iron sights. Stop it. They aren't different. It's a projected image versus a fixed point, on the gun. Obviously the image floats. Good buddy of mine, Bill Blowers, said this at one point, we don't teach specific red dot classes for carbine. Why do we have to teach them for pistols? There's a lot of dudes that are doing a great job with it. Scott Jedlinski, he's one of my former students. I taught him a lot about red dots, phenomenal competitive guy as well. Teaches a good program on them. The beauty is this, the red dot is the same as the iron sights. It's just your presentation that has always sucked. You just didn't see it as well because you didn't have this floating projected image out there like you do with a red dot on the carbine. The problem is too many people try to focus on a dot, not the target, which becomes part of their problem. They try to refine the dot so much, like it shakes everywhere, and now I'm slow, and I can't find the dot. You can't find the dot because your presentation sucks, and it was the same thing with your iron sights. You just didn't realize it as well. And we prove this in every class, every time, with every student that comes in with a red dot. It's just facts, and the dudes that shine away from them and the people that shine away from them are the ones who aren't seeking out the information or gaining knowledge, like, oh, they're battery, they're this. Yeah, we said the same stuff about carbines in the 80s and red dots. Shut up. It's just ridiculous. There's no argument not to have one on the gun. There's zero argument, and nobody can prove that wrong.
There we go. We also had some. I mean, this is always, a lot of things are debatable, and we had Max Michel on the show, and he says, and he finds that the red dot made him a better iron sight shooter.
Yes, absolutely.
In his opinion, and tons of people agree with that, some don't, and I don't know. Your take, you believe in that?
Absolute truth. My iron sight shooting went leaps and bounds when I was going back and forth between the two. It's not going to help the person who has a bad stigmatism or eye issues, going back to their iron sights because they just can't see their iron sights. That's why we have red dots. The red dots are much, much easier to use in off-access positions, unorthodox shooting positions. They're better in a lot of low-light engagement situations. They are much faster at distance. They are, and people are like, it's 7 yards, dot's slow. Stop it. You're just slow. The dot isn't slow. You're just slow. So stop blaming equipment for that. But no, I definitely believe that the red dot made me a better iron sight shooter. I was already a pretty competent iron sight shooter, but I learned my focus shift was a little bit different focal bands at that point. That really helped me out quite a bit with that. But there's no argument to not having a red dot on a gun other than the fact you're cheap. Stop being cheap. Stop buying another gun and put something on the gun that will help you.
There you go, Jen. Any of your thoughts on this? You don't have any red dots on any of your pistols or anything like that?
No, because I'm cheap.
There it is. There it is.
There it is.
Yes.
No, it is at the moment a matter of I don't have any money because I'm paying for college, but and I've paid for a precision rifle, and that was kind of my thing. But I would like to have one. The times I have shot one have been just short little periods, like at SHOT Show and stuff like that, and so I haven't had a chance to get used to them. So it feels very foreign to me. I think I could get used to it, but it would legitimately take me working with it and practicing with it. I'm not opposed.
It takes about 8 hours.
I think about 8 hours. There you go.
8 hours.
There you go. Yeah, Nighthawk. Didn't we talk to Nighthawk? They need to come up with one or something, right? Aren't you?
They do. They got a great gun with it. They got a great gun that was built around that called a Shadowhawk that I designed around a red dot.
Sweet.
Or
awesome.
I said Nighthawk too, but obviously you're sponsored by Night Force.
Night Force. I would love to see Night Force come out with a red dot. The new one coming from Aimpoint, the Acro, is going to be pretty awesome. People are like, it's big. It's the same size as an RMR, dude. It's just enclosed. Get over it. Stop it. It's not any bigger. Stop. We've carried T1s on guns and T2s on guns. Just stop it. Just stop. But cost is prohibitive for a lot of people, or they try to jump into the market cheap with an inexpensive optic that's not going to survive. And then it gives them a bad taste in their mouth. It's like buying anything that's inexpensive or cheap gear that's not going to last, and you're going to have a bad taste about it. Borrow somebody's gun. I teach a red dot class. I bring 10 pistols out with red dots on them. Here you go. Play with them all. I don't care. Shoot what you want.
I've been that dude. I remember I had a shotgun. Man, it was an off-brand shotgun. I went to a gun show. I bought a $30-$40 optic. I threw it on there. And boy, did it last like a whole 5 minutes out in the indoor range, boy. I found that out the hard way. I'm like, man, did it look cool for the gram. But that thing was terrible. I mean, it fell apart. I contacted a company, and there was a really shit warranty along with it, too. It was just
6 months. 6 months.
Because they knew you were going to put it on a cheap shotgun.
I mean, and it broke more ways than one. The whole thing almost fell apart. And it was awesome. I learned from that. And obviously, I need to spend a little bit more money on some glass. And obviously, companies are getting a lot better with that. Before, the old sayings, the glass needs to be more expensive than the rifle and all these kind of games. And a lot of companies, Hollison, there's a lot of companies out there. Vortex making a good affordable optics too.
Dude, yeah.
There's a lot of companies that are doing it better.
I can't tell people enough, man. Vortex has come up a long way in their game. Strike Eagle's a Strike Eagle. We get it. It's the entry level, get us in the game, but the Razor's a phenomenal scope. The Collis is another one. I'm a big Collis junkie, big Night Force junkie. I've got a lot of high-end glass. I've got a lot of intermediate glass. I love them because I have to play with them all, to develop things and to see what really people are using and what's out there and why. I mean, even, the red dots are starting to come up a bit from, Vortex. They're going to start looking at how to increase their longevity of their red dots. Red dots on pistols are vicious, man. There's no magic recipe yet to keep them absolutely alive, but they're getting much better now. Same thing with, Hollow Sun. Hollow Sun for years, people looked at went, whatever. I've got a Hollow Sun red dot on one of my guns right now, and it's fantastic. It's lived up to a lot of carbine use. It's a good red dot. It's about $300 odd. I think it is like $299, $300 price point. Good optic. It's holding up really, really well under carbine use and carbine classes. For years you had one game, man. It was aim point or EOTech. Those are the game. That was all you had. There's a lot of contenders coming out now that's forcing them to step their game up, and that's good. That's very good. So,
agreed. There we go. We've got a couple live ones here we're going to hit, and then we could probably wrap this one up. Mike Bell says, "Hey, Jen, Anthony, good show with Steve. Thank you for watching, Mike. Not sure if I missed it, but what is Steve's carry gun?" So just roll.
That changes quite often for me. Most of the time, honestly, I carry a 1911, either a government model in 9mm. A lot of times it's I'll flip back and forth between that or an agency Glock. Currently, the 509 Tactical has been thrown in the rotation. Those are generally my go-to 3 guns. It's a 1911 government model or commander. It's the agency Glock 17, or it's one of the 509 Tacticals right now.
Dang. There you go. Lastly, here from Dusty, he says, better to retrofit or buy setup new?
That's hard to say depending on what he's talking about. If he's talking about pistols, or is he talking about carbines?
Yeah. If you can just kind of elaborate on that question, Dusty, maybe we can get to it here shortly. Yeah. There we go. Jen, any on your side?
I posted the video that we discussed earlier in the comments of our question. And Justin Vidido said, who zeros an AR at 100? Is this 1995?
Oh, yeah.
Me?
There were some questions on that, and you can talk to people about where they zero their guns, and everybody can be different.
It depends on the game, I guess. Like for PRS, I zero at 100. For 3-gun, though, I zero at 50.
Right, and I was 200 for everything.
Yeah, right. You got that. Is it 50-200? Right? That's where I've always zeroed my thing.
They're close. They're not exact.
Close. They're not exact. A lot depends on the optic. Height over bore of the optic, the projectile, the barrel length, internal, external ballistics. I'm a 200-yard zero guy because it gives me my maximum point blank range in a 6-inch box from 0 to 330 yards. Basically, I can hold pretty much anywhere with my ammo, my guns, and hit with inside that box out to 300, 350 yards. That's what I go after.
Obviously, that 100-yard zero might make sense for the range that he's teaching on too, or the curriculum of that said carbine class. Maybe that makes sense. I don't know. But you said the PRS thing kind of blew me away when they said they zeroed at 100. I'm like, what? You guys are shooting at? Yeah.
Everybody dials. It's a lot of dialing, or it's a lot of holds of their BDCs depending on the gun. I was a big dial gun for years, depending on the distance, and the caliber. Yeah, I
was like, when Jen, you started, I was, when you zeroed your gun, you didn't want to dial because you're like, oh, you're going to throw my zero off. I didn't want to touch none of that shit.
I know. I was scared to dial at first, but now I will.
Yeah.
I was scared I was scared I'd get off, and I'm not even going to say how stupid I was. I was very ignorant of it because I didn't know, and I didn't realize that I could go around. I could tell how many revolutions around I was, and I was so scared that I would lose track of where I was.
Wind's going this way. Let's hold over 3 feet, and we should be somewhere in there.
Although I never dial wind. I only dial my elevation. I hold wind.
Yeah, you can hold a dot on or off generally with most calibers out to 1,000 yards, pretty much. A couple dots and you're fine. It's not that big a deal for most people, especially depending on the size of the target that they're engaging. For your steel.
I've been at too many matches where the wind sock is completely this way, and then all of a sudden it goes whoosh and changes like in the middle of shooting.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, no, I'm gonna just hold.
Yeah. So Dusty says on pistols. So better to retrofit or buy setup new with pistols.
Depends, obviously. If you have the funds, I say, hey, go out and buy one of the newer guns, or with the optics mounting systems that are out that are pretty good. If not, hey, if you're happy with your Gen 3 Glock, send it out to some of the reputable companies that are machining them for red dots. Update the triggers. Obviously, I use a lot from agency. Prior to that, I was using another company. That are fantastic. They're probably the only 2 places I would let ever work on my guns. The new mounting system from agency, the AOS, is phenomenal. You can mount anything to it, including iron sights to any red dot you want. That is a great setup. The 509 Tactical has a very innovative setup. Obviously, the Glock MOS, not the best, but it's better than what it was. That's, some of the new mounting systems out are going to force their hand as well. But I would definitely say, if you're happy with the gun you have, bro, retrofit it, tune it up, do whatever it is you would like to do to it, because it's your gun, your money ultimately. If you're looking to buy new, man, because who doesn't want to buy another gun? Go out and get one that's already set, ready to go. The M&P style guns. If you're an M&P guy with the core setup, if you're a Glock guy, MOS is, FN Tactical is a great setup and an amazing pistol. And then I say that and guys are like, oh, you work for FN. Newsflash, bro. If it's junk, I'm going to tell you it's junk, regardless if I work for them or not, at the cost of my paycheck. The 509 Tactical is a fantastic, reliable, accurate gun, and the mounting system is unique and great and solid.
Yeah, and I've heard some back and forth regarding the MOS and stuff like that, and I didn't jump in that conversation because I didn't have the knowledge. I don't own an MOS. I've retrofitted my dot to my Glock pistol, which happened to be a Gen 3 at the time. So, and I've heard people say, well, the MOS is, if you retrofit it, you can get it lower in there, and there's back and forth on that. And I don't know, do you really prefer one, or you just say, hey, just grab an MOS, it'll work, it'll get the job done? For most people, they'll be absolutely fine with an off-the-shelf MOS system, or, one of the mounting systems that are out from the major manufacturer. If you're a Glock guy, MOS. If you're a core guy with the M&P grade, 509 with their system, they're all good. It just depends on how good you need it to be and what you're doing with the gun. If it's for the average dude carrying a gun, they'll be well served. Who's going to shoot 500, maybe 1,000, 2,000 rounds a year? If it's going to see a lot harder use than that, you're going to probably want to retrofit it. The tighter the mount, the tighter the cut, the less shift possibilities you're going to have with it, the less shearing you can possibly have with those, with screws or mounts. That can cause failures, the less movement and reciprocation of the guts internally. There's a lot of whys that having a gun retrofitted or recut can be an advantage to you. If, again, you're going to buy a new gun, the new systems pretty much have handled a lot of that. Yeah, boom, there we go. And last one here, and then we're going to wrap this one up. Justin pretty much just puts in a comment. He says he bought a Surefire EDC L2-T based on Steve's recommendation. Outstanding EDC light at 1,200 lumens. Great light. Absolutely one of my most favorite carry lights. That and the Tactician are my two go-to lights generally for everything in my pocket from Surefire. They're outstanding lights. Great lumens, great beams, which is important. It's not just lumen output, but it's a lot of the way the reflectors are set that give you really good visibility and open up your situational awareness. Boom, there we go. And I promise this is the last one. Justin again says, Steve, do you know of any new Surefires geared towards EDC coming out soon? So trying to get you to spill the beans. Yeah, there is. Some guys have already been talking about it online. It's coming out. It's not a traditional pocket light kind of thing like you would normally expect. Think of the Guardian light that's currently out, slimmed down and a little bit better. I don't know if I can talk about it at this point. I probably can because I know it's coming here relatively soon and it's been online, but hey, whatever. I might say stiletto. It looks pretty awesome. And it's a very unique looking light that I think is going to do well for most people. I'm a big fan of the new Surefire Guardian as well, because it's a great truck light, pocket light, kind of thing. Throw it in the bag. It's actually a pretty good light for what it is. And I dig it a lot. Yeah. There we go. We're going to wrap this one up here, man. This was a great show. I think there was some good knowledge passed around here. I dig it. Jen, you usually wrap it up or start to wrap it up for us. What do you got for our shout outs?
So shout outs to Prime Ammunition. Just got some more in. Ordered my ammo for the gap grind coming up in a couple weeks.
Is that factory?
That is factory.
Oh, man. Okay. As long as you're good.
You'll be good to go to take a class from that instructor then.
It is. Yeah, I'd be good to go. Although I don't know if my gun is considered custom. I mean, Masterpiece did build it. They count them as a factory because they put it all together,
I don't know.
Who knows? Anyway, Night Force Optics for awesome glass, Lansing Tactical, Under Industries for some awesome jerseys. Check them out. You can get 10% off if you mention the Shooter's Mindset. GSL Technologies. My can is in jail until the ATF lets it out. So I guess I have visitation rights. I can go see it every week or something for the next 6 months. But looking forward to getting
a long gun, right? Because you can't even really shoot because you have it for a long gun. So ouch.
can't wait till I can get it. But anyway, soon, 6 months-ish, I guess, I'll get that put on my gun and start competing with it. Shooters of Augusta and Sharpshooters of Augusta, Carbon Arms, and Patriot cases for awesome travel cases for your
expensive
rifles and glass and all that. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Steve, what do you have as far as your end?
Nothing really exciting. I mean, you guys can find me over at sentinelconcepts.com for the website, on, Facebook, Instagram, all the usual social media stuff. Come out, take a class. It'd be awesome to see some people.
Boom, there you go. Plenty of those are on the website. Just take a look, very one click away. Hey, you can email them and see if your modified gun works for his class. So there you go.
Do you come down south?
Yeah, actually I do. Florida, I've been Arkansas, Florida, Tennessee, a couple other places, South Carolina.
Woo-hoo.
So it really just depends on when and where. I love South Carolina. I'm there often for FN stuff, so it's great. I'll be there a couple weeks actually doing some work. I'll be at FN, and but yeah, I absolutely love getting down south and teach, except for in the middle of summer. I usually end up stuck in Iowa, so it's even worse. But, oh God, Iowa's horrible. But no, I love getting down to the south area. Georgia, it really depends on the year and the host. It constantly flux and changes. Shoot Right, is that where I'm going to in South Carolina next year? I'll be back with those guys. So yeah, I'll be around. If anything comes up, hit me up. Let me know. Absolutely.
There you go. Some shout outs on my end. If you're watching on the YouTube side of things, right underneath the video, there's a subscribe button. Hit that. Every Tuesday, we're doing a new episode of The Shooter's Mindset featuring another great guest. Folks over at Tactical Shit, shop.tacticalshit.com for all your tactical shit needs, man. They got a lot of stuff over there. Folks over at Tandemkross, if you got for all your rimfire needs, they pretty much have. You got that old 1022 you want to, get running again, check out Tandemkross. They got all the parts you need over there. If you want to email me, theshootersmindset@gmail.com is a good way to do that. Definitely thanks to Steve for taking time out of his day to talk with us. Appreciate it. Folks over at Gear Nation USA for great apparel. And he's very local to me, good friend of mine, so check them out. That'll do it. That'll do it for episode 233 of The Shooter's Mindset. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and we're out of here.